It's really hard to say. So from all of the volcanologists that I've been talking to who are working very closely with people on the ground there, it's a highly volatile situation. Essentially, the risk right now can come from an eruption actually at the volcano itself, with its lava flows that can move at 40 miles an hour downslope, to actually magma that's gone under the city and has gone near the lake nearby, near a pretty urbanized shore. And so there is a chance, although it's there could be no eruption, there's also a chance there could be unpredictable kind of explosive style eruptions along the lake, or a lot of degassing of the lake's carbon dioxide and methane gases are not great to be around if you're a person. So it's not possible to put any kind of timeline on it at all, actually, which is actually what makes it so unnerving.
Really very frightening given the uncertainty. It sparked a mass evacuation. What are the challenges of keeping this many people safe?
Oh, I can't even begin to imagine, really. I mean, it's a very sprawling city, and even though people in the city have, they're kind of haunted by the 2002 eruption of the volcano, which I think destroyed up to a fifth of the entire city through lava flows kind of thing alone. It's still a bit pandemonious and a bit chaotic. I don't quite know how smoothly the evacuations are going. I'm just kind of relieved as many, just from my point of view, that evacuations are happening. It's better to be safe than sorry, for sure, in this case.
Indeed, last week's eruption proved deadly, so I figure they're trying to learn from that. Talk us through how fast events unfolded last week.
Oh, they were incredibly fast. I mean, one of the key problems here, again, I've been told by volcanologists working, with the monitoring equipment there, that there was no precursory signals, which means that there was no sign that the eruption was coming. Normally, volcanoes do something to indicate that an eruption is coming, and this is the first time they've had an expansive, detailed suite of monitoring equipment set up to, listen to the kind of earthquakes that the volcano would produce. But unfortunately, in this case, there was no warning, so it kind of just happened suddenly and surprisingly, and it was just luck, essentially, that the lava didn't end up going through the city itself, although it did hit, I think, 17 different villages. Dozens of people died anyway. So still a disaster, but it's kind of complete fluke that it wasn't, a lot worse.
What is going on with Nyiragongo right now? Underground in particular, why is it so dangerous?
So there are a couple of reasons for that. Initially there was and there still are actually, there are a lot of earthquakes happening, noticeable earthquakes, happening in the area. And, scientists were trying to work out what that meant, and it's quite difficult if you've only had seismic equipment fully operational for one of these eruptions. So you don't really have anything to compare it to. So they were trying to figure out as they went. At the same time, though, scientists were using satellites to look for the way the ground was changing shape, and that kind of indicates where magma is moving. So the general idea was that magma had kind of moved underground, beneath the city to somewhere around, the lakeshore part of the city. And that's the kind of current state of things. Now, that magma could not erupt. I think there was a similar-ish situation in 2002 where that kind of happened, but there wasn't an additional eruption. But it could. When magma mixes with water in certain conditions, it can create explosions. And they're much harder to kind of anticipate than lava flows, because at least you kind of know where the lava is likely to flow. So, it's very precarious, and everyone's crossing their fingers that obviously nothing more happens, really.
Well, what needs to be done to prevent more deaths from such eruptions?
It's tricky because Nyiragongo is definitely one of the most dangerous volcanoes in Africa, partly because, not just because of the volcano, and it's very, very weirdly fluid lava, but also because of its proximity to Goma, which is literally right on its slopes. And nothing will kind of change that dynamic. It's not like Nyiragongo is suddenly going to just stop being active. And, people can say, why would you live there kind of thing if it's so dangerous? But it's people's homes. They will always live there. And in fact, from 2002, during that very devastating eruption to this recent one, I think the population of the city roughly doubled. So it's not like the danger is going away ever, really, in that sense. So in terms of how best to protect people, I think, the more that the Goma Volcano Observatory, which is doing as the best job it can, the more that's kind of funded, the better, really. I mean, the more they can monitor things and actually keep their monitoring equipment working over time, the better it will be for everyone, really. So, yeah, more funding for them would be great.
Just finally, how significant is the damage done by lava? Can you explain to us how long it takes villages to recover? Can residents move back there anytime soon? For example, last week's eruption.
There are some spectacularly surreal pictures being shared of people just kind of sitting on the lava now it's kind of cooled and sort of examining the remains of their homes in some cases, sort of thing. It's a very odd thing to see. It never kind of gets less strange. But in terms of actually moving back to it, I mean, lava isn't just hot. It's really dense and it kind of plows through things. It's not like a watery substance. It's much more thick and viscous. And once it plows through an area and then solidifies, it's kind of like you have this strange part of this landscape that does take a while to cool down, but then it's just in the way, and it's not something you can just easily move. Saying that, though, within a few years of the 2002 eruption, the lava flows there were already built over and built on again. So people can move back in and reconstruct things. The real problem is, do they want to do that? Because if lava's flowed there once, it's likely to go there again. That's just where lava wants to go. So these are clearly high-risk areas, and hopefully in the future people avoid them, but I don't know if that's going to happen.
Fascinating, but terrifying at the same time. Dr. Robin George Andrews, thanks so much for talking to us.
Thanks for having me.